and welcome to another exciting episode of Construction Voices, where we deal with the challenges and complexities within the construction industry. I'm Shazeen Sheikh, your host for today, and rest assured we will be discussing a very compelling subject. As you're all aware, the construction industry is facing an engineering capacity gap, shrinking budget and rising cost. Against this backdrop, do you think digital twins can save the day? Well, to get an answer to this question and delve deeper into the concept of digital twins, we have with us today a very special guest, Nathan Marsh, Regional Executive of EMEA at Bentley Systems. Nathan has over 20 years of leadership experience in management consultancy, risk advisory, private equity and corporate finance, engineering and construction businesses, all focused on the funding, design, delivery, and operation of complex infrastructure projects. Thank you so much for joining us today, Nathan.
I'm delighted to be here. It's great to be back in Dubai.
So, Nathan, infrastructure, as we're aware, is the backbone of the society. However, infrastructure projects today are very, very complex. How do you think we need to approach these infrastructure projects, and how do you think will digital twins play a role in this coming ahead?
Infrastructure has never been more complex. It's also never been more important. The impact of infrastructure affects our society, our environment, and economic prosperity. So we have a duty and a privilege to get it right. I think how we can start to get it right and manage the complexity is understanding the complexity at the earliest possible stage. An outline business case, the DCO for planning phase, is a really important phase at which to understand the complexity and to understand how technology can support the control and smooth delivery. We can do that by having a data and technology strategy built into the business case and built into the planning, and as you start to design the supply chain and the construction schedule. The use of digital twins is vitally important, and that should also start at the earliest stages. So in design and business case, the asset owner, whoever that may be, the construction supply chain, whoever they may be, have a clear target, a data target and a digital target to understand how to organize data to support design, architecture and engineering, construction, and then the handover to asset owners and operators. This means that there is one digital twin which allows different players and actors in the construction cycle, the design cycle, construction cycle, and asset operation cycle to have a single and consistent view of the asset at each phase and how it's evolving. This is absolutely crucial and will help manage and mitigate the risks of some of the complexity that we see in infrastructure delivery.
Perfect. So what are the different ways that digital twins can be used throughout the life cycle of an infrastructure project according to you?
Well, it's great to see digital twins used more prolifically across infrastructure construction programs worldwide. And here at Bentley, we're really keen to see infrastructure digital twins used on a more consistent level across all projects and throughout all projects. So a digital twin will be designed in the design phase. It will then support the architecture and engineering. The data then gets handed over to the construction supply chain, which will then use the same digital twin to pinpoint and get accurate on the construction schedule, whether they be conventional methods of construction, modern methods of construction, off-site, design for manufacture, to really, really focus the construction efforts around one digital twin. That twin will enable a reduction of risk and an increase of certainty in the construction phase. But that's not the end of the story. The twin then gets handed over to the asset owner and operator in good order and to agreed specifications that allows them not only to understand the precise, down to each component level, build-up of what they've inherited or acquired, but how they can best manage it. And particularly if the asset is digitally enabled, there is potential then for the asset to talk to the twin to support more automated and proactive maintenance and operation. So we're excited to see the concept of digital twins, infrastructure digital twins, taking hold, but there's a lot of work to do to ensure that our sector has the skills to enable this to happen.
So Bentley Systems have been associated with very high-profile projects. Can you share some examples for a better understanding of our listeners then?
Yeah, certainly. We're really proud to have so many of our projects having such impact and also such recognition. Some of them form part of our Year in Infrastructure Awards, which is another initiative we're very proud of to profile success in design and construction and operation. Within the region, the RTA, the Roads and Transport Authority in Dubai, is a great example. Dubai, as we know, is one of the fastest growing cities in the world, and it needs more than any a similar city appropriately configured and sustainable transport infrastructure. RTA wants to improve that, but also the performance and the impact and the environmental impacts of the road network. In 2019, RTA wanted to up-level the collaboration management of project and asset information. So we worked with them using a couple of our products to really design and deliver a far more improved scheme that brought together project management and cost management to improve the certainty of the project delivery. This enabled RTA to deliver on schedule and to budget an enhanced transport extension system, and created a single source of truth for all the engineers working on that project, which supported project delivery and of course continues to support the smooth asset management of Dubai's road traffic network. It also ensured changes could be made real time to the scheme, which gives it sustainability and future proofing. So RTA is a project we're really proud of. Another great example that we're very proud of is the ASGC constructing Dubai's first and largest fully air-conditioned multi-purpose indoor arena. We use one of our technologies called Synchro to provide 4D planning and scheduling to enable the smooth delivery of this project. It saved 2 weeks in construction, so we're very proud of that. It's now known as the Coca-Cola Arena, formerly the Dubai Arena. It's a multi-purpose arena spanning 500,000 square feet with approximately 20,000 capacity. It's the only all-purpose air-conditioned arena of its size in the region, and we were asked to support the project using our Synchro to create a visual representation of the construction schedule for all project stakeholders to communicate. Weekly meetings, as a result of a single view, were reduced from 3 hours to 45 minutes, which saved 500 hours in time and cost. We also improved the steel construction performance, and we also saved 2 weeks and corresponding costs, not just building some of the components, but also in the construction phase. And the impact of that is that it's now one of Dubai's showcase and go-to venues. So we're really proud about that as well. A third one that we're really proud of is the Khatib and Alami digital twin of Muscat. This is really important to us because it supports real-time issues like the protection from flooding. We used our iTwin capture to improve performance and reduce costs in this mission-critical national infrastructure asset. We also enabled delivery 35 days ahead of schedule. In Muscat and Oman, we were asked to provide a digital twin of 250 square kilometres of the surrounding region to understand the impact of flooding and to come up with prevention strategies. We achieved a high level of accuracy and delivered this project within 125 days. The large digital twin took over 330,000 images over a 14-day window, and we created a 3D virtual reality model of the area. We use iTwin capture and a GIS web application to really start to think about how we can accelerate project delivery and accelerate the impact of bringing flooding response under control. We extended the digital twin from 250 square kilometres to 280 square kilometres. Our technology created the capacity for that, and the efficiencies created by using this technology to visualise and simulate performance reduced the hours, saving over $150,000 of project cost. The overall deadline that I mentioned of 125 days was also beaten, and improved efficiencies allowed our team to work with colleagues to deliver this in 90 days. We're really proud of that project, but more importantly, the impact it's having in the region.
I think indeed it's a matter of pride because these are some really big projects and have really changed the lives of the respective cities. In this realm, what are the obstacles which are hindering the process of applying digital twins within the system?
I think some technology solutions are less open than they should be. So we should be open source and interoperable by default. I think we need the right level of digital skills in construction, and it's brilliant to see an active and vibrant software supply chain around the construction and asset management industry. I think we need a little more consistency, maybe not control, but consistency around standards and requirements for a digital twin. We also need to understand the value of a digital twin, not just the cost of the technology, which is important, but the value creation opportunities of an infrastructure digital twin in action, having benefit around design and engineering, supporting a much more controlled and lower risk construction phase, and then a higher level of performance and impact when that asset is in operation. We need to understand the value of that as well as the cost. And then finally, we need to understand the return on that investment, not just economically, but for social value, environmental value, and then finally economic value. So skills, consistency of deployment, and I think an understanding of value of a twin. I think if we understand those and we can make those happen, we'll see the use become far more prolific.
That's perfect. So how can policymakers and industry leaders better collaborate to ensure that the infrastructure of tomorrow built is sustainable, technologically advanced, and just right for the audience?
I think that's a great question, one that we wrestle with at the moment on behalf of our accounts and our users. We absolutely need to build in sustainability, and it is being built in, but more prolifically and more consistently to build that in right at the earliest stages. And I touched on value creation, and I've touched on the importance of environmental and social value. Those are crucial in the design and architecture and planning, the construction and the asset operation phase. A full construction program will have an enormous impact on our climate and our environment. So we need to think about that early on rather than retrofit it into a program. We also need to understand, as I touched on, the skills used. So a full construction cycle and an asset operation cycle will require different skills than those in the past. We'll have to see deep expertise in climate, in social value and technology, particularly in the increased use, but careful use of artificial intelligence in design, construction and operation, but particularly in the asset operation phase. So I'm excited that we're on the pathway to do that, but there's a lot of work to do to make sure that we can create these schemes to become more digital by default.
Do you think the government is doing enough of supporting this kind of a project?
It's great to see worldwide different governments, and particularly ISO and BSI, the British Standards Institute, the International Standards Organization, creating protocols, guidelines and expectations for safe and secure digital systems on construction schemes. It's also great to see collaboration agreements having standards. ISO 44001 is a great example where we see consistent standards applied, so it allows us all a benchmark to get to. It's also exciting and encouraging to see standards and protocols from different governments on environmental and climate commitments. So we're on the way with government support. But again, I think we need coordination. I think we need support and guidance. I'm less keen on control and regulation because I think the industry, our collective industry worldwide, should be allowed to set the bar and find perfection on its own.
The operative here words are safe and secure. And I think that's very, very important when you talk about technology, AI, blockchain, digital twins as well. So how do you implement the safe and secure strategies so that, it's safe and there are no high risk involved in the process?
That's a great question, and again, one that we spend a lot of time trying to work through with our key partners. By building a common data environment or a digital twin throughout all phases of an infrastructure asset is an act of mass integration, which is just what we need because it helps manage the complexity. It also can carry risk, so we need to be acutely aware of the cyber risks, information security risks and vulnerabilities of any network.
Absolutely.
Particularly a network that is intrinsically linked to critical national infrastructure, water supply, electricity and energy supply, defence or national security or law enforcement assets. These are incredibly important assets to our society. And therefore, we need as much care and attention and prior thought in the design of them physically as we do digitally. So for construction and infrastructure projects, I would expect to see at the earliest stages a very clear strategy on data, on the use of digital twins, and also on cyber and information security.
Perfect. To sum it all up, then how do you think that the construction industry can leverage the power of technology to work towards increased productivity, carbon neutrality, and obviously profitability?
A few themes that we discussed today. I think we need to start early in the consideration of the role and impact of technology on major construction projects across every phase. We need to look at collaboration agreements that really bind the supply chain, the construction supply chain in, and that would include architects, designers, the full construction supply chain, and then the asset owners. So they're all working to one mission or a set of shared missions. I think it's important also to think very clearly about how we have an integrated common data environment, and an infrastructure digital twin would support that. I think we also need to look at the digital skills that we need across each element of construction, particularly on mega or giga programs where construction might take 10 years, and the role of artificial intelligence will impact skills across that 10-year cycle. We need to think about cybersecurity and information security as we've discussed. That's important. And all of these things need to be discussed before we break ground. Lastly, I think the big question for me, or the big theme for me, is about impact. Really understanding the impact of a well-designed and engineered, really well constructed and thoughtfully and responsibly constructed asset, and then its use. Its use, as I touched on, can have three elements of value:
Right.
social value, environmental value, and economic value. And if we get this right, construction and infrastructure will continue to be an industry that we're all very proud and privileged to be part of.
That's great. Since you're so passionate about the industry, have been so closely working with digital twins, how do you see the future of digital twins then?
I think the future of digital twins is one of integration. We talked about the early adoption and early consideration of all aspects of design, engineering, construction, and asset maintenance feeding into a digital twin in a controlled manner. The use of cloud is going to be really important to allow flexibility and agile working, but the infrastructure digital twin is here to stay. We're very proud to be a pioneering and a vanguard part of that industry, and seeing an infrastructure digital twin being used at the earliest stages, collecting data, organizing data, supporting the right sort of decisions and managing risk throughout the full life cycle of the project is something we're incredibly proud to be part of. We now need ourselves and our partners in industry to join us and get skilled up and get familiar with using these twins across infrastructure projects, but also using them to capture the impact of appropriately delivered construction and infrastructure management schemes.
Perfect. I think there couldn't be a better note to finish this amazing episode. So that's a wrap from us. Thank you so much, Nathan, for joining us. It was a wonderful conversation, and I'm sure our listeners and viewers are going to take a lot from this.
Thanks for having me. Delighted to be here.
And a big thank you to everyone who tuned into this episode. Please do like this and follow our streaming channels. And for all construction-related news, please head to our website www.constructionweekonline.com. This is me, Shazin Sheikh, signing off for today.